So, kind of like with Shang-Chi, I decided to put this movie review on YouTube instead of Patreon, mostly because this movie had been out for a couple months. Actually, I think almost a year now. And I decided, what the hell, I'll just do this here. So, I thought it'd be kind of fun to do this video as like a late night review. And the movie we're talking about is, of course, Mortal Kombat Battle for the Realms. Now, I don't think I reviewed Scorpion's Revenge, which is the first movie to this, but I think Scorpion's Revenge is probably the best Mortal Kombat movie, period. A hell of a lot better than what I saw earlier this year. That garbage heap of a movie. Yeah. It was awful. I hated it. I hated it so much. But Scorpion's Revenge, like I said, was the best, and this was a very anticipated sequel for me because, like I said, Scorpion's Revenge, while it was short, it did tell a coherent story. It told a story that we've heard 1,000 times, but I think what it worked was that it just focused on one character. I mean, yeah, we did go back to, seeing the others, but like it was mostly Scorpion's story, and that was what I loved about it, was that it was a story about, and that's the thing about fighting games and being converted into like a big story, is that you have a huge amount of characters, there's going to be some sidelines. And Mortal Kombat is a major thing of that, is guilty of that, because here's the thing, is that they try to throw every character and they try to throw in every character when really, that's impossible. That's really impossible to do. Like, you just cannot do something like that anymore. Like, you just can't do that. You have to focus on one character, because if you try to do multiple plot lines in a movie, it's not going to work. And yeah, you may be thinking, well, they did that with the 2021 movie, they did that with Cole Young, First off, Cole Young was about as interesting as a brick. And yeah, all the characters you did care about got sidelined. Fucking, I hated that fucking movie so fucking much. But what did I think of Battle for the Realms? Now, the Battle for the Realms story more or less is Shao Kahn showing up going, hey, let's do one more tournament, and it will determine the fate of all realms. So the Elder Gods agree. Raiden also offers to give up his immortality of no longer being a god, and yeah, we also follow up with what Scorpion's been doing, and he's dealing with the being called the one being, coming from this earth, which I thought was going to be Onagu. I really thought it was going to be Onaga as the big villain, but nope, that didn't happen. I mean, yes, I know they were trying to tie into MK11, MKX. So I was like, all right, I see what you're trying to do with the MKX connection there, but more or less, this is a fun story. I still think this was better than the live-action movie, and but the problem is that this falls into the pitfall of what I was just talking about. This really does fall into that major pitfall of trying to do too much in too little time. This movie is only an hour and 19 minutes. Like, this is under hour and a half. I feel like this could have really benefited from at least being an hour and a half long. The Scorpion's Revenge movie was around the same time, but it was telling a story mainly focused on Scorpion trying to get his revenge on Bihan. And the other stuff involving the island was the backseat, but it had enough space to it where it told a good story. Here, it's trying to tell two stories at once while also dealing with, like, the cyber Lin Kuei. You also have Shinnok's whole thing, which Shinnok just shows up. Yeah, he just shows up. I thought didn't they say in the last movie that he was locked away? Like, that was his whole thing, was that he was locked away and now suddenly he's here? Alright. Also, characters just show up like Sector and Cyrax and Stryker. Oh, poor Stryker fans. Stryker's becoming the Kenny of Mortal Kombat. And this is no different. Yeah, he is definitely becoming like the Kenny of the Mortal Kombat anything. yeah, this really does feel uneven because this movie really jumps back and forth, and I literally forgot, like, oh, right, there's Scorpion and Quailang's whole thing with this god thing that... Alright, he's trying to find an infinity gem? Oh, no, that's not it. He's trying to bring about a god that will end everything. So, an infinity gem. But... yeah, I think the voice acting's actually really good. I enjoyed a lot of the voice acting in here. Fred Tatasciore as Shao Kahn, I think, is a really well done. I think it's a really good voice. I think he's a good pick. There's no like voice in here that I feel like is out of place. No one feels like, yeah, I didn't care for it. But there is a lot of cannon fodder. Oh lord, is there a lot of cannon fodder in this movie. Like, there is a shit ton of characters getting their asses murdered. Like, straight up. And yeah, there are some characters you won't see. I was expecting a trilogy, but how this ends, it's like, oh, was it only the 2 movies? Like, it really just, like, the movie ends on the thing of, oh, okay, I guess this is just 2 movies. All right, I wasn't expecting that, but whatever. The other thing that I really enjoyed is the fight sequences. I think these are some of the best animated fights I've seen in a while. And good lord, are some of these the best finishes I've ever seen. Like, these are some really damn good fatalities in this movie. Just some really damn good fatalities. One character... yeah, it's been out a few months. You guys can probably deal with spoilers. Kung Lao just gets... you remember that finisher, that fatality Shao Kahn had, where he, like, opens you up and, like, walks past through the 2 pieces? He does that to Kung Lao. Stryker gets finished. Raiden was a surprising one to see die. The other thing about, and I hate to keep going back to hark on the whole story. I mean, the whole thing of how short this movie is, but they compact a lot in here. And, like, they have to bring up, like, flashbacks rather than actual storytelling, and also talk about, like, how, oh, Kung Lao, I know he was your friend even though we just saw him in the beginning of the movie. I understand that this is more meant for the fans, like, this is really more of a fan movie than anything else, but, like, if you're Joe Schmo watching this movie and you're like, wait, they were friends? Alright, okay. We don't get that. We just get, here's Kung Lao, there goes Kung Lao. Here's Stryker, there goes Stryker. It's like that. Again, I'm fully aware that this movie's fan base is for the fans. I'm well aware that, you know, we know the lore, but, like, I would have liked to have seen more of that. There is a lot of a nice extension of Johnny and Sonya's relationship, but Liu Kang and Kitana's relationship just comes the fuck out of nowhere. Like, it just comes out the flying fuck out of nowhere. And they're like, okay, I guess you're a couple now. Also, as awesome as it is, it just ends with a kaiju fight. No, really? It ends with a kaiju fight, because, like, Liu Kang goes Super Saiyan God mode and fights Shinnok in his God mode, and yeah. It's weird, but I like it, because, like, it's fun. But there's not much of a story. Like, the story itself is so, like, there's moments where I feel like a scene could have used to breathe more story into it, or there could have been more to a character other than just to see them die, or not get enough screen time. But, yeah, this is probably one of the better this is definitely a good Mortal Kombat movie if you just take it as really fun animation and really good fights. Story-wise, I feel like that's where it really kills it for me, is that I'm not saying this is bad. Like, this is I would watch this at way more than than the 2020 movie. I would watch it way more than the Mortal Kombat movie we got, the live-action Mortal Kombat movie. But honestly, like, a part of me is like, maybe this would have benefited from being a trilogy. Like, have Battle of the Realms focus a lot more on Shao Kahn's final tournament, and then sorry about that. Yeah, and then focus more on Shao Kahn's final tournament, and then focus, like, the third movie can deal with all the stuff with Shinnok. Like, you could have the Shinnok stuff in the background, but, like, focus more on the big tournament, and then you can do a third movie with the same length of this one, and focus more on Shinnok's whole scheme of becoming, you know, the end god or whatever. So, yeah, that's what I feel like. This should have been a trilogy, but it just feels like two movies. Like, it just feels like two movies were truncated into one movie, and now we just got two. I thought they were going to do this as a trilogy, but oh well. Anyway, so you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of Mortal Kombat Battle for the Realms? Did you guys like it, hate it? Comment below, let me know. As always, if you haven't already, hit the link below to my Patreon to get some exclusive content. But other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the multiverse.